When soldiers froze to death within miles of campfires and frostbite spread faster than bullets in the winter campaigns of the Second World War, one small overlooked technique quietly saved countless lives. It wasn't a new invention or a secret weapon. It was a way of using the body's own heat more efficiently, a method so simple it almost seems trivial until you realize how effectively it kept men alive in the dead of winter. This forgotten body heat redistribution trick was passed around between frontline medics, Arctic scouts and survival instructors, and though it faded from post-war manuals, its principle remains one of the most valuable lessons in field survival. Stay with me, because by the end you'll know exactly how it worked, why it mattered, and how to use it yourself when the cold turns cruel. During the Second World War, the Eastern Front and the Alpine campaigns forced soldiers to confront temperatures that routinely dropped below -30 degrees Celsius. Many units weren't equipped for Arctic warfare. Gloves were thin, boots were leaky, and rations froze solid by morning. Medics quickly discovered that most deaths labelled exposure weren't simply due to cold air. They were the result of uneven heat distribution within the body. In essence, the human body was wasting energy trying to warm its extremities, draining the core and spiralling toward hypothermia. The secret that emerged wasn't about creating heat, but redirecting it. Troops learned to manipulate their own circulation, posture and clothing layers to trap and transfer body heat from warmer zones, the torso, groin and inner thighs, to colder extremities like fingers and toes, without losing critical core temperature. It was the difference between keeping blood moving and freezing from the inside out. Second World War field medics in both German and Allied camps observed an interesting phenomenon. Soldiers who rested in tightly curled positions or pressed body parts together retained heat significantly better than those who layered up but stood or moved loosely. This led to a rediscovery of what later became known as body heat redistribution through surface contact. In plain terms, soldiers learned to use their own body, and sometimes a buddy's, as a radiant heating system. One of the most effective techniques was the core contact method. It involved pressing the hands or feet against the body's major heat reservoirs, typically the groin, armpits or sides of the neck, for several minutes at a time. The femoral and brachial arteries running through those areas radiate warmth generated by the heart and core organs. By holding numb hands under the armpits or between the thighs, blood flow was naturally rewarmed before recirculating. This wasn't a desperate gesture. It was a deliberate process that restored sensation and function without requiring external heat. Soviet scouts on the Karelian front often trained in this method. After long patrols, they would remove outer gloves, tuck their hands inside the open chest of their coats against bare skin, and wait 10 minutes. Once the blood warmed, they'd use that same heat to massage life back into their feet. It sounds crude, but it worked. Better than matches, better than friction, and infinitely safer than standing too close to a fire with frozen limbs. Redistributing heat wasn't just about where you placed your hands. It was about managing how heat moved through clothing. WWII instructors taught soldiers to treat their clothing like valves, not armour. Layers were loosened or tightened not for comfort, but to trap the right amount of air between fabrics. Too tight, and circulation suffered. Too loose, and body-generated warmth escaped. Another field instruction involved kneeling or curling into the fetal position when resting in freezing weather. The human body loses heat fastest from exposed or spread out surfaces. By folding inward, drawing knees to the chest, tucking arms against the torso, and minimizing gaps in clothing, soldiers reduced the surface area from which heat could radiate away. German mountain troops referred to this as internal sheltering, a technique proven so effective that it became a standard in their Arctic manuals by 1943. In paired patrols, men often slept pressed back to back or chest to back, rotating positions through the night. This wasn't just for morale, it was thermodynamics. By sharing radiant heat, each soldier cut their heat loss nearly in half, keeping both alive with minimal energy expenditure. The principle behind this forgotten method applies perfectly to modern wilderness survival, camping, or even power outages during winter. The first step is understanding that your body generates plenty of heat. Your job is to manage it, not replace it. Start by sealing off escape routes for warmth. That means keeping your neck, wrists and ankles covered, since these are major heat leak zones. Next, apply the core contact method whenever your extremities begin to numb. If your hands lose feeling, slide them under your armpits or press them between your thighs and hold still. If your toes begin to freeze, cross your legs and press them against your inner thighs. Then relax your upper body to encourage circulation. The warmth you're borrowing from your core will naturally move outward through the bloodstream. When resting or sleeping outdoors, curl inward or share body contact with a companion. Even a dog or small animal pressed against you can make a measurable difference, because radiant heat moves from warm surfaces to cooler ones until balance is reached. This technique, often called reciprocal thermoregulation, is pure physics in action, and it was being used by WWII soldiers decades before survival manuals caught up. To test this for yourself, spend a cold evening outdoors and try alternating between sitting upright and curling up tightly. You'll feel the difference in under 5 minutes. That's the exact principle those frontline soldiers used under far harsher conditions, and it works every single time. What this rediscovered World War II method reminds us is that the human body is already an efficient heat source, if used correctly. Soldiers who learned to control heat redistribution could operate longer, rest better, and recover faster without external gear. It wasn't about brute endurance, it was about strategy and awareness. In today's world, where comfort is taken for granted, lessons like this cut through the noise. Whether you're a historian studying field conditions or a prepper building your winter survival plan, mastering this concept is as vital as knowing how to make fire or purify water. The tools change, but the principles never do. Every wartime survival trick, from improvised heating packs to this body heat redistribution technique, represents a hard-won victory of knowledge over nature. The soldiers who discovered these methods weren't experimenting, they were surviving. And the fact that these lessons still apply today proves their timelessness. If you found this exploration valuable, make sure to subscribe to In the Beginning, share this video, and keep these lost survival techniques alive. Because the next time you face the cold, the warmth you need might already be within you, just waiting to be redirected.